Welcome back to the Team Solemn Circus. We're here on Sneak Peek Day. We have Matthew Bambrick. You played today. You played Evil Eye.
Yeah, pure Evil Eye.
Day one, Sneak Peek. So, you know, very, what was it? You said you're just testing it still?
Yeah, it's mostly testing. And there's a lot of things I need to swap here and fix, and there's some cards I couldn't get beforehand. But then I think about playing the deck today was no one knew what they did.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got 4-0, so undefeated. Pretty crazy. I mean, I like that. Any shout-outs you want to give today?
Yeah, actually, mostly due to my friend Jason for helping me test this stuff out. And yeah, everyone who was able to give me the comments that I needed day one of a sneak peek.
Yeah, pretty cracked. Well, let's dive in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and show us what you got.
Alright, so let's start with the main deck here. We've got 3 copies of Circus. This is your main searcher. It also ends up being your final boss monster sometimes. It's a little weird because when it's equipped with Solemn, it can destroy a special monster as quick effect. Sometimes you want to just end on this and then go to negate later. It's up to you really, depending on your opponent. That's the main thing I found about playing this deck, was that you need to be able to adapt to your opponent's strategy as soon as you have an inkling as to what they're doing.
So like, pretty control-ish.
My first opponent was a Flu player. He played Shifter on me, so I just adapted, made Gorgon in first to have a negate rather than a pop, and yeah, he was on Flu. Then we've got the new card, Vassal Trice. This card is really good, being able to quick link specials from grave at a quick effect speed as well. And the fact that it lets you use your equip spell means that you can literally just use any Evil Eye equipped with Solemn to go into their upgrades. And with their new spell, that becomes just like two disruptions on your opponent's turn while being pretty hard to get rid of, and it's really consistent as well. Also, the nice thing about this is that it comes back from grave repeatedly. It does take banish, but we play Xyz monsters to get around that.
Fair enough.
And the fact that it's a quick effect also really helps. Then we got 2 Basilius. You can cut this down to 1 if you wanted to. A lot of people do. I like playing 2 to have an extender. And sometimes you do need to dump a certain spell card in here in order to get your plays going, because you're mainly trying to get to a board that contains either Thurzio or a Link equipped with Solemn and Vassal Trice. Then we've got the 1 Catabellus. This is our last Evil Eye monster. I like this card. You could definitely cut it if you wanted to, but I find that it's nice being able to protect back row, and it's another free body on board by sending it to graveyard with their new spell.
Fair enough.
That's it for the Evil Eye monsters. You can easily cut down on most of them. You could probably play just 1 of each and maybe even cut Catabellus altogether. So long as you're playing 3 Thurzio, you're probably fine. Then we've got Fifth Shield. We got 3 Magnemute, Druid Worm, and the new one, Baldrake. I found that these were all exceptionally useful. Tyrellman is obviously the best deck. This hits tier, simple enough to understand. It's easy to take out as well on the side if you're playing against Flu, for instance. And this card in particular I found was particularly fun to use. I didn't really use its effect too much, and honestly I didn't see it very often, but I like it and I would definitely keep running it. Alrighty then, that's it for Bestials. We've also got the last monster we just got, Ghost Spell. This is because you actually don't like Bestials because all your effects activate in graveyard or to summon. So just being able to hit Bestials and certain revive effects is pretty useful. And for monsters, for spells, we've got the new spell, Evil Eye Unleashed. This card is absolutely insane. So for cost, you send an Evil Eye spell and an Evil Eye monster to the graveyard and then search and equip. And it also banishes itself from graveyard when you link summon in order to equip an equip spell to a link. And that's an especially useful thing to have in here. The fact that you can do that with Vassal Trice basically means that you can, so long as you have this in graveyard, a monster on field equipped with Solemn and Vassal Trice, you have access to 2 disruptions. And you can do that off of this 1 card. It's pretty crazy. And the fact that its cost is just a cherry on top. You don't really care about searching Solemn a lot of the time. Then we've got 2 Gorgonio and 3 Solemn. You can cut down on Solemns and probably bump up the Gorgonios. In fact, I might consider swapping these around. I found that this card is especially useful. You want to sort of dump this off of Unleashed in order to actually get your plays going because it searches a spell trap, but also it does give attack equal to the difference between life points, and since you pay so many life points, I literally had an occasion where I went in against the Shizu tier and I just hit them for 9,000 directly. And Celine, you need to play this card. I was playing it at 3 because DD Crow is a thing still, but honestly you can cut this down to 2. It's not that bad. Really up to you as a player. That's it for those. We've also got the field spell, Pro Reno. This I mean, I'm very used to saying that, as you know.
We've been playing tier for a long time, but this card's crazy. It's just like almost, I mean, not as good as Pale Rhino, but still.
No, not even close, but this is full combo. So this is full combo with your this, and Terraforming, Circus or Unleashed. If you do that, then you can go full combo into a proper board state. So it's pretty consistent, and you've got some consistency cards in here as well. And this searches a Evil Eye on summon, but also I found this particularly interesting because it has 2 additional effects that are pretty useful. One to retrieve a graveyard Evil Eye when it's destroyed, which is useful. Back in the day, you used to play with DP, and it was kind of nice. But also, if a monster gets attacked on your field, you can actually just you can basically turn this into Worst Magic Cylinder because you still take the damage, but you throw it back at them as well, which is pretty nice. I actually won a game against a Cyber Dragon player a while ago against that. Then we've got One Awakening. This card is not amazing. You can easily cut it, but at the same time I feel like you can't. It's a really weird card. It does say summon from deck, and it does say, hey, summon from grave or hand. And it's a nice spell, but I don't know. It wasn't doing me too much. It was just okay. Then we've got a 3x trap because we barely care about the extra deck, and the ones we care about we'll just play at 3. I never had a problem with this, and honestly it's pretty nice. I also considered Small World for this because any Bestial, so long as you're playing a DD Crow, is Circus, which is full combo. But I decided to go with this first. Honestly, you could do either, but this is seeing more results.
Would you ever think of Prosperity or no?
Prosperity easily, yes, but I don't have $150 to show out.
Fair enough.
Then we've got 1 copy of Evil Eye Confrontation. It is MST if you control an Evil Eye, and Cosmic Cyclone-ish if you control a Selene with it. The only thing I have to note here is that it has to be able to destroy before banishing, meaning that if the card is indestructible, then it doesn't do anything. Then we've got Called By because I fear hand traps, and it's also good against tier when you're going second. Speaking of going second, we've got Imperm, good card. Good card. Then we've got the 2 spell traps. This is going to be a little weird. We're playing 1 Retribution. This is a spell trap negate when you've got an Evil Eye and the other effect barely matters. It's good. You try to search this whenever you can. Didn't come up a crazy amount of times, but when it did, it was awesome. And then we've got Mesmerize. This is a little bit of a weird card. It should be defeat, but I didn't own the card, it turns out. I had everything except that card. But it wasn't completely horrible. Like, it does do good against, like, Sword Soul, for instance, and it does okay against tier, depending on your board state. Being able to steal a monster on summon, honestly, does come up. So it's not horrible. That's it for main deck. For extra deck, we've got 3 Gorgon, which is your quick effect monster negate, and 3 Zerziel, which is your quick effect pop. And this is also your OTK tool, because this card can attack twice if it uses a big monster, which it's going to do, probably. And even if you don't, this card is perfectly fine because it gains 100 for every engrave. This deck can OTK pretty easily, and that's pretty much how I won most of my games.
I remember, yeah, like back in the day, I mean not back in the day, but like a few months ago, I got OTK with this deck and I was like, what just happened? Like, this is crazy. It comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, I just played against Sword Soul, for instance, and that deck literally could not beat a couple interactions. Like, they set up Shizhou, 2 back row pass, I hit the back row at the Shizhou, and then I proceeded to just hit them for like 9,000 directs. Then we've got Dark, IP, Unicorn, Goddess, and Access Code. Access Code for OTKs when you can OTK, but honestly you don't need it. Underworld Goddess I keep because everyone seems to occasionally just whip out something that's unremovable, so this is how we do it. Nightmare Unicorn to get rid of stuff. IP, you can easily cut this, and Dark, I feel like I like this with the Bestials, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's it for those. We've also got some Xyz. This is a little weird though. If you're playing Xyz monsters, you want to be playing DDD Stone King Darius to go into Deus Machinax because you're playing so many level 3s.
That's fair.
Unfortunately, I don't own that card, so instead we're playing a Shore King, which actually came up quite a bit today.
That's crazy.
It can attack 3 times thanks to having 3 materials, and the fact that it gets stronger each time is really nice. And the fact that you pay life points when you've used Unleashed and you have Gorgonio equipped is just really nice. It makes OTKing very nice. I never even had to negate, honestly, with this card.
Wow.
But I barely made it, so it's a little weird. You need 3 monsters and you don't only have 3 monsters. Then we've got Wolo, because I'm playing so many Bestials, gotta play that. And then Downer, or Zeus. You probably don't even need Downer, to be honest, but I mean, I kept it because the extra deck barely matters, but when you get into the extra deck, it's alright. Then for side deck, we've got Double Nib, which murdered Sword Soul and nothing else. Then we've got Triple Droll, which was really nice against Flu and Tyr, just good card all around. We've got a Feather Duster for back row decks. Dark Ruler no more for going second, Anti-Spell and Solemn Judgment for going first. Anti-Spell is the only weird card in here. I'd say that you probably want to swap that with your Floodgate that you prefer. Rivalry is a really good choice and I'd highly recommend it. Skill Drain is common, goes in matches alright. Honestly, it's up to you really. So long as it's not there can be only one, you're probably fine.
Well, it's a very, very well organized deck, and you know it is day one, and you went undefeated. So congratulations once again, and proud of you.
Thank you.